Welcome to Bohemian Summit. I'm Brian Jeffries with
Shinji Ayanami.
And Nity.
Alright, so the story I want to talk about is one I found from wvmetronews.com here by Alex Wiederspiel. I hope I said that right. It's 15% of Mylan workforce laid off at Morgantown plant. It says it's more than 400 employees. I did some research into a little bit further into something called a WARN Act. I don't think it's in this article here, so I shouldn't say I did more research, but it's further in that article. It says that the county commission president Tom Bloom said that the commission did not receive a WARN notice, which is generally issued under the Worker Adjustment and Retraining Act to protect employees when layoffs number greater than 100. But I saw a different statistic that said that number was from, I think, 30 or 50, somewhere around there, to 499. So it's likely that whatever the number is to avoid this notice, that's probably how many they laid off. Is my
yeah, that's a huge.
My guess.
It's a huge amount.
That's 15% is a large portion of a pretty good portion of the workforce.
It's a large amount of people with no jobs.
Of course, our wonderful McKinley. God, what a piece of crap McKinley is.
Yeah, sucks.
But I guess he was on Metro News Talk Line with Hoppy Kercheval, according to the article here, describing himself as outraged, according to the article. But his quote from the Talk Line says, "When they reference the FDA, what do we need to do? What has to happen with that?" And to me, that sounds like what he's saying is, I mean, who do we have to, suck up to? Who are we not being nice enough to get this passed? Is there some deregulation we have to do at the FDA? But please tell us what corporate strings we have to pull to get you to not cut jobs. It makes them look bad, because the Republicans are controlling these companies, the pharmaceutical companies, which paid these guys.
Right.
I did look into that too. Mylan Pharmaceuticals. What a great company it is. It has its own PAC, and it donates large. I wouldn't say super large, but thousands of dollars to candidates, mostly Republicans. I believe one of the stats I saw was 86% of their donations go to the Republican candidates.
Oh, that's nice.
Some of their top candidates are Shelley Moore Capito and I believe McKinley, and some other I think in the House and maybe lesser offices that I'm unaware of. I don't recall the names of everyone specifically. I think I saw it on Ballotopedia, perhaps, or no. Open Secrets. I did a lot of research on OpenSecrets.org for this article. Because you can find every bit of donation stuff. But the important thing here is that Mylan is cutting jobs, and they shouldn't be. They're still turning a profit. In fact, they are buying up other companies. Which is actually what they're using to justify some of the layoffs. I saw in a different article, it said that they were reducing redundancy. So I guess I have too many people doing the same job, maybe IT or HR or something like that. Who knows? But either way, we're still losing jobs, and theoretically good paying jobs. But again, to go back to the WARN Act, I've meant to call attention to this because I said that number was between 50. It says here that there's an exemption in the WARN Act for layoffs numbering between 50 and 499 employees, but comprising of less than 33% of the workforce of the entire plant. So again, 15% that fits exactly those numbers. Right. So I would probably say it's much closer to 500 than 400. The article says more than 400, but it seems likely that in order to avoid this sort of legal ramifications they would do
so
that.
many people.
That again, 15% is great.
And that just
but-
prevents them from getting punished by this warn notice. How's that work exactly?
Well, the war notice, I think it said earlier, was the Worker Adjustment and Retraining Act. What that is it's supposed to give employees enough notice to be able to retrain or reposition themselves in a different industry or something, so of comparable pay, so they're not essentially just thrown out on the streets with no money, no job, no prospect, that sort of thing. But
they said they did not receive a warn notice.
Yes, they didn't get one, but because there's an exemption that says you don't have to.
When layoffs number greater than 100.
Yeah, it says that they're for layoffs numbering between 50 and 499. So if you hit 500, you need a warn notice. If you're under 50, you don't need a warn notice. I'm sorry, you need a warn notice. So there's like a sweet spot. For some reason, if you lay off between 50 and 499 people, you do not need to do the warn notice.
How does that work?
That's right. That doesn't make. Why is there an amount of people you can lay off? Because somewhere there's an algorithm. Yeah, it's not a random number generator. I guarantee you somewhere somebody made an algorithm that said this is the acceptable percentage of people you can lay off in certain situations, and it'll be it's all cost margin. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like profit margins and quarterly profits, all that. It's all done for the bottom line. But I just that's why I'm saying I feel like if they're gonna do this, they're gonna try to maximize it. So they say over 400, but I think it's probably closer to 500 than 400. That's just my guess. I don't think it's over 500. I just think it's closer to 500. But yeah, but this is sad, obviously, because Mylan is also the company, as I said earlier to you guys before we started recording here, that was in trouble a few years ago because of the EpiPen scandal, which I have a link from, I think, CNBC. Yeah.
EpiPen scandal.
Yes. This is from 2017, August 2017, on CNBC website. It says, Mylan has finalized a $465 million settlement with the U.S. Justice Department, resolving claims it overcharged the government for its EpiPen emergency allergy treatment, which became the center of a firestorm over price increases. So what they did was they sold these to the government at a ridiculous rate. There's a stat here I wanted to get to, so I just want to make sure I quote it right. It says Mylan came under fire last year after raising the price of a pair of EpiPens to $600 from $100 in 2008. And it was listing it with Medicaid as a generic product, even though it is listed with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration as a branded one. So they basically said that's a 500% increase. And then later it says that Mylan also has offered its own generic version for about $300. Yeah, exactly.
That's so stupid.
Yes. But either way, so this is a company that is jacking up the price of EpiPens, which is literally designed, like its sole purpose is to save lives in a
anaphylactic shock.
Yeah, exactly.
Allergic reaction, bee stings and things.
Well, and any kind of allergic reaction really that is threatening. But they're profiting off of people's health. People in jeopardy, and it's very convenient because it happened in 2008, which, as I was telling you before we started, Mylan Incorporated, Mylan Pharmaceuticals, whatever you would call it, is the CEO of Mylan is this woman here, this picture of her, Heather Bresch, I think is how you say that. Heather Bresch is the daughter of Joe Manchin, and Joe Manchin, wonderful guy that he is not, clear of these scandals at all. I mean, you've got his daughter running a company jacking up the prices of EpiPens.
She's the one doing all of this. Okay.
Yeah, she is the CEO of Mylan, the company who's jacking up the price of EpiPens.
Wow.
Who's laying off workers while they're buying up companies worldwide. Who is
that's ridiculous.
Making profits off the American taxpayer.
Yeah.
At the expense of the American taxpayer. And I did a little bit of research into our boy Joe and his political history, because I mean, I in my lifetime I've known him as governor and senator, but I wasn't 100% sure because I was a lot younger and I wasn't sorcerer. I wouldn't give him that much credit. I don't think he's got the moxie to be a sorcerer. But yeah, I looked up his political career, and it turns out that 1998 was kind of like an off year for him. But 1998 was coming off of a loss. He ran for governor in 1996 and lost, and so he had like nowhere to go. I guess he had no fallback plan, perhaps. But up until that point in 1996, he was a representative at the West Virginia Senate from the 13th District. And the 13th District happens to be happens to include Morgantown, right? Morgantown, obviously where WVU is, happens to be where his daughter went to school for her degree. I think she has a bachelor's degree in, it says in one of the articles that I have, it's in international studies, I think, and something else. But it's but she had claimed that she had received an MBA from WVU, and it turns out that when the Post-Gazette called to do a story on her for becoming the CEO of Mylan, to fact check, just to verify her credentials and stuff, and they're doing a piece on it or whatever, they could not verify that she had received an MBA.
That's odd.
So it turns out there was an article I had that I don't have it saved at the moment, but it states that largely what her MBA degree or whatever was based on a conversation she had with the president. And it gets really sticky here because
she's just lying.
Mylan, the company, is involved at this level too, because I've got to get the article. Give me 1 second. The people that she went to school with actually ended up being related to this matter as well. I believe she went to school with the president of somebody who's at WVU now. Just give me 1 moment. I need to go past our Don Blankenship information. My history is ridiculous right now. There it is, college scandal. All right. It was from it's Business Insider, so that's fairly decent.
Reputable, yeah.
But the headline from 2016, in August 2016, Christina Sturbins is the writer here. CEO of EpiPen maker Mylan once claimed she had an MBA, should be clear, that she never earned. So I guess when the EpiPen scandal was coming out, they did some digging into her and found that there was also this scandal. And it says the situation began when the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette made a routine call to verify Bresch's credentials as the new head of Mylan. Accusations of political cronyism and the resignation of 3 WVU faculty members followed. It gets pretty ugly here. It says that in 2007 there's a press release announcing her ascension as CEO, and that she earned an MBA and an undergraduate degree in international studies and political science from West Virginia University. But then the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reported that West Virginia University awarded Bresch the MBA after only rewriting documents that originally showed she completed approximately half the credits necessary for the degree. So initially it says WVU told the Post-Gazette that Bresch did not have an MBA, but several days later insisted that she earned one in 1998 and blamed the discrepancy on poor record keeping and later an unpaid fee. So throughout the whole inquiry, it says that she maintained that she had earned the MBA, while professors, classmates, friends said that they weren't sure and they were afraid of their jobs for speaking out.
So is it basically just her saying that she had it since this year, and their records show that she had half of the credits?
Right. Yeah. When they produced
Other
documents,
people don't know.
it sounds like what this says is they produced documents that said that that she only had half the credits, half of what she needed.
That's not even close.
Well, yeah, it's
I mean, kind of, but I'm saying it's enough of a difference to be like, well, it's not just a few credits missing to where it would be like a
it's not like, oh, you missed one or two classes.
Poor record keeping isn't going to be like the culprit. I mean, I don't know.
Well, it not to keep away the ending here, but there's an investigation later that deemed that it was not poor record keeping.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous or something. I would say ridiculous, but it deemed it wasn't a credible idea. But the problem is that it gets even worse because it says that there's several big names to refer back to the Business Insider article. It says the Post-Gazette's inquiry also revealed several big names in the West Virginia political community tied to Bresch. Obviously, most notably her father, Joe Manchin, held the governorship. But Bresch also went to high school with the WVU president, Mike Garrison, and the college's largest benefactor, Milan Pusker, chaired Mylan at the time.
Wow.
You might know that name because it's on their football stadium. So you can tell that it was a pretty big benefactor to West Virginia University.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like that's why I had to go so far through this because it's so tied together ridiculously. It's like Mylan is essentially recruiting her in college.
It's all built off of corruption.
Correct.
To the core, like literally, like
exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
From the
Mylan,
father to the daughter,
who is a
to the
pharmaceutical
corporation.
company who donates to Joe Manchin, somehow handpicks his daughter.
Yeah. It's a bit
Yeah.
It's a bit
We can't even finish her degree.
Yeah, right. So he gets it all covered up, lies about it. Doesn't matter if she lied about it.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna continue on it.
It's pretty bad. This is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of
just
problem.
the stuff that we know about.
Exactly.
You gotta think about how many things like are just going on that are like. I mean, this is the world we live in today.
Well, it gets worse because it says at the end of the article, the Business Insider article, it says, Bresch, however, told Fortune in 2015, quote, I certainly to this day believe I did everything I needed to do to get my degree.
What a
2015.
What a vague statement.
2015, I still think I was right and should have had my
so
MBA.
deflective. Like, come on.
No, I think she was pretty clear. She said,
I
think
that was required. Well, that's cool, but it's not based off of what.
No,
you
she
think
didn't
is
say she
required.
thinks. She says, I
believe.
certainly, to this day, believe I did everything I needed to do.
Well, but that can be taken another way, too.
Yeah.
She believes that she did what she needed. Like she.
No, I get it. You're saying that what she believes is not necessarily what the school requires. It's not what the school mandates. Is like you can believe you have enough classes and courses to get this degree, but the school says
You
no.
only have half.
Well, no, I'm not going that way too. I'm saying
that's not your. I'm sorry.
saying
I'm
with
sure
with the cover up and whatnot, she did exactly what was needed to get her degree. You know, that doesn't mean academically she did ethically. You know what she did.
Oh no, that's my point. Is that she feels so strongly like no, I deserve that.
Yeah,
like
it's just entitlement.
Exactly. Yes.
It's entitlement.
These are the entitlements,
Screw you
Paul
guys.
Ryan,
Your rules
that you
don't
should be
apply.
worried about.
I'm rich and entitled. Your rules don't apply to me. Like, well, you know.
This is why it's got to end. This
These
is
are
why
the people that rule our country.
I cannot get further behind. Like I cannot further support. I can't support Paula Jean Swearingen more. I really can't emphasize it enough because it's the best chance at this moment, I think, to remove him from the equation as quick as possible. Right. And as we were talking about earlier with Don Blankenship's supposed rise or whatever, she would have the greatest chance oh my god, you can't pick a better matchup than that than a survivor of the coal industry and its effects on families. Versus a coal baron who profits from the deaths of coal miners and their families. It's literally like it's a match made in political heaven if you're the liberal or the progressive or whatever you call it, the Democrat in that situation. It is it's a gift if they put up Blankenship. The only possible downside is if there are just so many hardcore right-wing Trump people that don't care about reason, that don't care about logic. But the problem is, I also think a lot of those people have not heard the messaging from people like Paul G who say, no, I want to get you more money. I want to get you better health care. I want to. Yeah, exactly. They have no idea. They're like, hey, I want to bring new industries here. I want to bring hemp here. I want to bring the cannabis industry here. I want to invest in schools and in our actual. I want to actually invest in the infrastructure, not do this bullshit infrastructure plan from Jim Justice, which is pretty obviously only going to go to benefiting the roads where the oil and gas industry want them into the what is called the transit line. You know what I'm talking about, the trade routes, essentially. Supply routes. Yes, yeah. That we talked about this before we started doing the podcast here, but the company that I can't remember what it was now. It was like the company that was behind the article supporting Jim Justice's infrastructure plan was a media company that is, the CEO is the same person who is the CEO of a company that drills wells or something, caps wells, something of that nature for natural gas and fracking people, and they also build and maintain roads and sites for the natural gas and fracking industry. So who do you think's gonna get that money? That, of course, that's what I'm telling you. Like, they say it's this infrastructure plan, but we all know those are not going to be the roads that we drive on, the roads that we need, the roads near our houses and our schools and our places of business.
So many systems,
unless you're in the oil and gas industry,
are set up like that, though, exactly like that. I mean, it's all a conflict of interest as well. It's like
it is. It's a giant conflict.
It's like the dental industry promoting floss. And then you go and buy floss in the the American Dental organization. Was it association? ADA.
Yeah, it's ADA, I think.
They're obviously the ones pushing it. And then you go and do studies, and you find out that it's like, well, it's not actually necessary. It's just been one of those things that's been pushed so many times.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's not mandatory. It's helpful. Yeah, it's helpful a little bit. Yeah. It might keep you from having to go to the dentist more frequently. I think it's more important as you get older, perhaps.
But then you think about what they put in our toothpaste and how much of that actually breaks down our stuff. I mean, it's all like off subject, but it's all like it sort of ties into a lot of like the same like general theme on like
of corporate corruption and it having a negative effect on us, the regular people,
and benefiting from our suffering, just like the EpiPen scandal, right? Because most people would say, "Oh,
you're profiting from human misery."
But it's even worse than that in this situation, because it's like, okay, everyone's just like, well, it's the worst because it's us. It's that allows them to exist because we're buying their goods and blah blah blah. All we need to do is boycott them, right? Well, you can't really boycott EpiPens. It's like that's one thing. Yeah, one of those things. It's like necessary.
You can't boycott something that's going to save your life.
You're not going to be able to do that. You can't boycott.
The best you can do is the best you can do is get the generic alternative, which Mylan also makes at half the cost, which is still 200% more than the original cost.
It's still from them too.
From the cost of the brand name should be.
Right. I mean, it's just complete. It's a complete.
It's a farce. The whole thing is a joke. Our entire government is a joke
it's
right
like
now.
Our internet, right? Comcast having a complete monopoly. They control the bandwidth. They control all of the speeds and everything.
We're gonna have to save the FCC crap for another time. Like maybe next week or so. This is the main situation, because that is a whole can of worms. But yeah, that is
foreshadowing.
That's I just wanted to bring bringing this to light because I don't know if I mean I drew some conclusions that I varied a little far away from the layoffs. The layoffs were the jumping off point, and the other things they are bad. They are very bad. Obviously, no one likes to see jobs being lost, even if it is in the pharmaceutical industry,
Right.
which is crippling us right now. Like it is another problem that you've got these people. They're not only hitting us with mass opioid crisis. You know what I mean? They're not only contributing to the opioid crisis. They're also contributing to the joblessness,
Yeah,
and, you know,
joblessness,
to
homelessness,
the wrecking of our economy.
Wrecking of homes, wrecking of lives.
Exactly. They're destroying us on so many levels, and they are profiting off it, and it is disgusting. It's disgusting, and the fact that they are tied so closely to our senator, our previous governor, and our current governor. Even I didn't look into it, but I would be willing to bet that Jim Justice is a friend to the pharmaceutical industry and therefore Mylan.
The biggest, most profitable companies and corporations are generally the ones that profit off of the suffering because it's a constant cycle that you can keep going.
It's got to get done. May 8th, Paula Jean. I will drag you guys there if I have to. I don't care. Wait, are you registered Democrat?
I think.
Okay. I know I am still.
I am a registered
Should be.
Democrat.
For I checked.
So I voted.
I went online and checked. So
Okay.
you got to. It's the first step. The first step is trying to vote the crap out of it. I swear I don't know what I'm gonna do if she does not take him down in the primary. I might lose my mind here because it's just gonna. I can't bring myself to vote. There's no good candidate. There is no good candidate besides Paula Jean Swearingen in that race.
You just have to
yet. I mean, then perhaps there will be a Green Party or a Mountain Party, whatever it is here.
Uproot your house and just move to a
Working
different
Families
state.
Party.
That's what you have to do. If you don't like the laws in
We're
one state,
looking at a different country.
move
if
to
this keeps
another,
up.
or another country. I've thought of that.
I don't want to give up just yet. There's still a few good.
There
There's
might
still a
still
few
be
good
hope.
politicians in our legislature. I hope Fluharty. I hope he sticks around. He seems to be one of the good ones. A Democrat with some actual conviction. Don't see too much of that lately.
That would certainly be nice.
And it is nice. It is nice. I've seen some of his videos on the teacher strike. He is winning my approval pretty steadily. I like what he has to say on most things, but I'd like to hear more from him. I'd like to hear what he thinks about.
He's pretty young too, isn't
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
my age.
he?
But I'd like to hear some more about his stance on the living wage, the things like police reform, perhaps even what he thinks about what's happening with education. Like we talked about school shooting earlier, like all these different things.
and
But
whatnot.
we've got to start getting people like Joe Manchin out, and we got to start having actual consequences for people like his daughter and people like Don Blankenship. And, these corporate criminals who cry. That interview we watched on Vice about Vice News for Don Blankenship, where he cried about, you lose a year, you miss out on a lot of stuff, you get behind. And all I could think about was I don't know what millions, tens of thousands of Americans in jail right now because they had a joint on them for years. They're in jail for years, plural.
Coming out violent offenders.
Even. Yeah, exactly. And he's there
God.
making a joke about being in a white collar prison with some other corporate douchebags who cheated their taxes or committed embezzlement or something. And such hard time for him to be in a place where he probably sat and read books or like ate.
Watched television, got fed meals.
Got fed meals that were not
money.
D grade meat, I'm sure.
Hell no.
Right.
It's gross. It's gross what happens. But I mean, at least he was prosecuted. So I mean, it's something.
Prisons that taxpayers shouldn't have to pay for. Like white collar prison.
Yeah,
for sure. I don't think
we should be paying for. I mean,
you should have white collar prisoners in the same prison with the nonviolent drug offenders, because then they might actually learn some things.
Or pay for the privilege to be in a white collar prison.
Yeah, or you pay for your own stay.
he
based
gets
on your
out with all
taxes.
his money, and he's like, I'm so fine.
I'd love to see Jim Justice in prison for not paying his freaking taxes.
I'm
sure Kentucky would like it too with their teacher strikes going on. They could afford a lot. They could afford to pay their teachers a lot more if he would pay them the millions of dollars he owes in back taxes.
Yeah, you think about all these terrible rich people. If they're all thrown in prison and demonetized, you take all their money away and you just put it back into the economy. And the most helpful programs. That would be like.
Well, you can't. I mean, they have to be guilty of something. Obviously, you have to try them, and then
obviously.
yeah. I mean, you can't just be like, you're rich for taking all your shit.
No.
I might draw the line. I don't like rich people, but that is the line.
And plus, you have to be careful with the redistribution of wealth anyway.
I'm probably
necessarily
way more.
saying-
That's a topic for another day. But I'm probably way more to
Well,
left than both of you guys in that
More
situation.
for programs, specifically decent programs that could be agreed upon.
Thanks for listening, fellow Bohemians, to another session of the Bohemian Summit. Feel free to give us a like, subscribe, and hit that notification button, and we'll see you next time.